trying to fight for his memory in a way.
A local family is now filing a lawsuit and demanding answers about their son who died while in custody at the Erie County Sheriff's Office. Good evening, everyone. The death was ruled a homicide, but no one was held responsible.
Tonight, the family of Richard Metcalf is pointing fingers at sheriff's deputies. We do want to warn you here, some of the images that we're about to show are graphic. On the left is what Richard Metcalf looked like before his arrest. To the right is what he looked like just hours before he died at the hospital. News 4's George Rickert is here with an update on this case. George?
Well, 9 Erie County Sheriff's deputies were personally slapped with lawsuits today, and their actions after the struggle with this inmate are being called into just as much question as the struggle itself.
I think the case is about much more than monetary damages. I mean, the case really is about finding out what happened.
Brown Chiari attorney Michael SCINTA is representing the family of Richard Metcalf Jr., who was arrested last November for burglary in Depew. He was acting erratically before and after arriving at the Erie County Holding Center. At one point, he was considered to be a threat to himself. 9 deputies struggled with him. He came out with bruises, and according to EMTs who responded, Metcalf was conscious and alert and was lying face down on a med table with a pillowcase over his head. He was then placed by sheriff's officers face down onto a stretcher, and the officers refused to allow the EMTs to assess him until he was out at the ambulance. At that point, the pillowcase was removed by the EMTs to find a spit guard tied very tightly around his neck, and at that point, he was no longer conscious.
I don't think it's a quantum leap that someone is criminally responsible for this.
Last spring, County Medical Examiner Diane Vertis ruled that he died of a heart attack, with contributing factors being his chronic cirrhosis of the liver and multiple blunt force injuries with associated stress. Manner of death was listed as homicide, but state police spent months investigating.
It was a lengthy investigation, very thoroughly investigated, and I could tell you at the end of this investigation that we haven't found any wrongdoing on any person's part, whether it's Depew Police Department or Erie County Sheriff's Department.
I think as a man, to have someone take your child, like it's primal, right? It goes right to the soul, and you know, you just wish you could do something about it.
Now, District Attorney Frank Sedita tells me he is still reviewing this case and won't send it to the grand jury unless he's convinced that there's an actual criminal case to be made here. And the opinion so far of state police is there is no criminal case.
But what do they say about the way he looked in these photos, George? He was so swollen up.
It looks terrible, but you have to keep in mind Metcalf had been on a waiting list for a new liver, and even the medical examiner noted that that type of condition can cause a person to bruise easier and to swell easier. It was at least a contributing factor.
I see. Thank you, George.